Corning GLW Beginner's Guide. If you have ever swiped your phone screen, sent a message across the internet, or watched a flat-panel TV, you have almost certainly touched a Corning product without knowing it. Corning, ticker GLW, is a 175-year-old American materials science company that quietly makes the glass and the optical fiber inside an enormous chunk of modern technology, and right now, it has become one of the unexpected winners of the AI boom. Quick disclaimer: this is educational only, not investment advice. We are here to understand the business, not to talk about the stock. So, what does GLW actually do? Corning is basically a specialty glass and optical fiber factory at massive scale, organized into 5 business segments. The biggest one is optical communications, about 43% of revenue at roughly $1.85 billion last quarter. This segment makes optical fiber, those hair-thin strands of glass that carry data as pulses of light, plus the cables and connectors that wire it all together. The customers here are telecom carriers like AT&T and Lumen, and increasingly the hyperscalers, the giant cloud companies like Meta, who are building enormous AI data centers and need to stitch together hundreds of thousands of chips with fiber. The second segment is glass innovations, about 33% of revenue. This bucket combines two things Corning has dominated for decades: the big sheets of display glass that go inside TVs and laptop screens, and Gorilla Glass, the tough cover glass on most smartphones. Apple is the marquee customer for Gorilla Glass, and Samsung and LG are big buyers of display glass. Corning just launched Gorilla Glass Ceramic 3, the next version of that cover material. This segment also makes very specialized optics for UV lithography, the chip printing machines used to make advanced semiconductors. The remaining 3 segments are smaller but important. Automotive, about 10% of sales, makes emission substrates, the ceramic honeycomb pieces inside catalytic converters that clean up exhaust, plus automotive glass. Solar, about 9% and growing fast at 80% year over year, is a newly broken out segment where Corning makes polysilicon, wafers, and solar modules in the United States. And life sciences and emerging, about 6%, makes lab glassware and some early-stage growth bets. Total Q1 2026 revenue across all 5 was about $4.35 billion. So, who does GLW compete with, and how does it win? Corning's competitive position is rated wide moat, which is just analysts' shorthand for very hard to displace. There are 3 big reasons. First, Corning invented something called the fusion process, a special way of making large, ultra-flat display glass without ever touching its surface with a mold. No competitor has matched that quality at the same scale, which is why the glass innovation segment runs at a 22.8% net income margin, meaning for every dollar of sales, about 23 cents drops to the bottom line. That is unusually rich for a manufacturing business, and it is locked in through long-term agreements out to 2030. Second, Corning has 175 years of accumulated materials science know-how. They invented low-loss optical fiber back in 1970, which made the modern internet physically possible. They invented Gorilla Glass. They make the giant ultra-pure glass blanks that UV lithography machines need. That broad patent portfolio plus the manufacturing recipes, which take years to perfect, create what economists call switching costs, meaning customers cannot easily move to a rival because nobody else can make the exact product. Third, Corning has signed multi-year contracts with its biggest customers. 3 giant cloud companies, including Meta in a $6 billion agreement, have committed to buy a known amount of optical product over several years. Apple has long-running Gorilla Glass commitments. Lumen has expanded its fiber contract. Direct competitors include broader cable companies like CommScope and Prysmian in optical, and some Asian display glass makers, but none of them combine the IP, scale, and customer lock-in that Corning has across all of these markets at once. What are the key drivers for the business over the past 5 years? 3 forces have driven Corning's growth over the last 5 years. The first and biggest is the AI data center build-out. Building an AI data center is essentially wiring together huge clusters of GPUs, graphics processing units, the specialized chips that train AI models, and those clusters need vastly more fiber than older cloud setups. Corning has a high-density product line that fits 2 to 4 times the amount of fiber into the same physical conduit, which is a huge deal when you are filling football field-sized buildings. That is why optical communications grew 36% year-over-year last quarter, and why segment net income nearly doubled, up 93%. The second force is something Corning calls Springboard, an internal growth plan launched in late 2023. The idea was simple: refocus the company on the highest return segments, push pricing where the moat allows it, and aim for big operating margin expansion. It worked faster than expected. Operating margin expanded by about 390 basis points, meaning roughly 3.9 percentage points more of every revenue dollar now becomes operating profit, and the company hit its margin target a full year ahead of schedule. Management is expected to upgrade and extend the Springboard plan all the way out to 2030. The third force is a clever commercial model called risk sharing. Corning learned this trick years ago with display glass customers, where buyers would guarantee a certain amount of demand in exchange for dedicated factory capacity. Now Corning is applying it to AI fiber. The hyperscalers prepay, guarantee a baseline of purchases, and accept take-or-pay terms, meaning they pay even if they buy less, in exchange for US-based manufacturing capacity reserved just for them. That converts what used to be a boom-bust cyclical business into something much steadier and predictable. To wrap up, so in one sentence, Corning is a 175-year-old American materials company that makes the specialty glass and the optical fiber that quietly power smartphones, TVs, telecom networks, and now AI data centers. As a learner watching this story, the things to keep an eye on are how fast the AI optical build-out actually translates into delivered fiber, whether the company signs more hyperscaler long-term agreements beyond the 3 already announced, and how the solar segment ramps as it moves into full US production. Again, this is educational only. Nothing in here is a recommendation. The goal is just to understand what Corning actually does so you have the foundation to research deeper on your own.